Now students, I am here with question answer, page number 28. Discovering Tut, the saga continues. Understanding the text. Question number 1. Give reasons for the following. Actually some statements have been given and we have to give the reason why this happened in the story. To start with the first one. King Tut's body has been subjected to repeated scrutiny. King Tut's body has been subjected to repeated scrutiny. Yes, 3 times at least it has been done. In 1922, Howard Carter examined his body. Thereafter, a professor of anatomy, he x-rayed the body, and thereafter his body was CT scanned in 2005. Actually, he is a subject of interest. He was the first mummy to be examined. Actually, he was the first mummy whose body was discovered by Howard Carter, and thereafter his body was examined twice after him. So at least 3 times his body was scrutinized and examined. So in this way his body has been scrutinized or examined 3 times at least by the experts, and their aim was to find out the truth about the circumstances of his death and life. Tut, he lived only for 19 years. At the age of 9 he became the king, and he ruled for nearly 9 years. So actually the circumstances under which he died very young. There are several theories about his death. Some say he had malaria, some say he had bone deformities, some say that he had some congenital problems. So, but these may be hearsay, not facts. Second question. Howard Carter's investigation was resented. Resented means people became angry. They were critical of the way he carried out the investigation of the body. He was blamed for all the damages caused to the body. Naturally so. Jahi Hawass, Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquity Egypt, he was angry because the X-ray of the professor of anatomy in 1968 revealed that his chest bones and rib cages, the bones in his rib cage missing. Actually he had caused some damage, and some damage might have been caused by the time, more than 3000 years. It is a long time. So some damages must have been done, but all the blames were put on Howard Carter. Actually it may be he may be responsible for some of the damages caused to the body, but not for all the damages. Carter had to chisel away the solidified regions to raise the king's remains. Okay, before this he did 2 things. First of all, he applied force, legitimate force, proper force, to remove the body from the bottom of the coffin, but body would not budge. Body could not be removed. Then he put it in the sun. He hoped that the ritual resins would melt and body could be removed, but this also did not work. Then he had to apply chisels to remove his body, and he was able to raise his mortal remains. Now the question is, why was he trying to remove the body from the bottom of the coffin? He had a strong reason. He thought that because his body was lying on a golden bottom of the coffin, thieves would take away his body as well, because they will also find it difficult to remove the body from the coffin. In this way, a valuable evidence will go away, will disappear. So he tried to chisel away the solidified regions to raise the king's remains. Number 4. Tut's body was buried along with gilded treasures. We have to understand that the time in which he died. What was the rituals? What was the custom? What was the beliefs of the Egyptian people? We have to go back in time. They believed that after death a king had afterlife, and for afterlife he would need necessary things. Because he was a king, he needed comforts, he needed treasure, he needed all the ornaments, he needed the necessities of life. All these things were buried with his body. That's why the treasure is richest in the world. There is no mummy in the world which is as rich as this Tut. Richest mummy in the world. And plus, actually he was a very successful king. During his regime, the Egypt reached the highest point of civilization. And he had very good relationship with all the kings and emperors surrounding his kingdom. So after his death, they paid him rich tribute. They gave him rich gifts, and all those things were buried with his body. That's why he was buried with gilded treasures. A fifth one, the boy king changed his name from Tutankhaten to Tutankhamun. Actually, his father was wacky, eccentric. He changed the custom. He started worshipping sun disk, and before him was the custom of worshipping moon god. So he became the worshipper of moon god again. He restored the past tradition which his father had broken. So he was the worshipper of moon god. So and Amun means moon god. So he changed his name from Tutankhaten to Tutankhamun. He changed his name from Tutankhaten to Tutankhamun, worshipper of Amun he became. So he restored the tradition. Question number 2. List the deeds that led Ray Johnson to describe Akhenaten as wacky. His father, actually maybe his grandfather also, Akhenaten, he was a crazy ruler. He reversed the tradition. Previously it was god Amun which was worshipped, but he changed the faith and he started worshipping the sun god, and he was iconoclast. He broke his images of Amun, and destroyed his temples. So he was a wacky kind of person. That's why he was called wacky and eccentric. Actually he was a ruler who brought about fundamental changes and mindless changes. That's why he is called wacky. What were the results of the CT scan? CT scan produced amazing result. 1700 digital images were taken. All parts of his body were scanned, and it produced amazing result. 1700 digital images. Imagine his skull, his vertebrae, rib cage, all parts of his body, a very clear picture emerged. So this was very successful. So on the evening of 5 January 2005, his body was CT scanned. List the advances in technology that have improved forensic analysis. Actually, during the time of Howard Carter, there was hardly any technology with him. He had hardly any technology on his disposal. So he examined the body only manually, Howard Carter. But in 1968, his body was scanned for the first time. This was advancement in technology, and thereafter his body was CT scanned in 2005. So question is, these are the advances in the technology made. Forensic experts, anatomy experts, radiologists, all these people were involved. So the examination was more scientific and it covered wider areas. Explain the statement, King Tut is one of the first mummies to be scanned in death as in life. Once more, King Tut is one of the first mummies to be scanned in death as in life. Yes, he was the first mummy. Actually, his body was scanned, first mummy to be scanned. Yes, it all started with Howard Carter, and after him no other mummy has been examined. He is the first and only first mummy, and they are trying to know about his life and death. So he has been the first mummy to be scanned in death as well as in life. Working with words, students, given below are some interesting combination of words. Explain why they have been used together. Actually, these are the technical words particularly related to this chapter. Actually, they relates to the areas of archaeology, examination of the bodies, anatomy, and related to technology as well. First one, ghostly dust devils. Actually, why dust devils? Actually, in the desert the fierce wind blows and dusts are raised and they look like ghost. It is airy, it creates fear in the mind. So it has been called ghostly dust devils. Desert sky, you know very well, desert sky, winds blow all day, dust storm often comes, the sky is never blue. Stunning artifacts. Stunning means it can surprise you, brilliant, okay, which can take you by surprise. Artifacts, actually the treasure which has been found there, like ancient objects and curios, they are stunning, they are brilliant and incomparable. They will leave you speechless and surprised. Number 4, funerary treasures. Why his treasures are called funerary? Funerary word has come from funeral. As you know, his body was buried with rich treasure. Okay, so they were called funerary treasures. Scientific detachment. Now it is a very technical term. What is scientific detachment? A student of science, when he enters the laboratory, he doesn't have a preconceived notion. He is not prejudiced. He goes there with the objective mind, impartial mind. He doesn't go there with pre-thought. So scientific detachment means when you carry out experiments, you don't carry any assumptions in your mind. You observe it, and on the basis of your observation, you reach the conclusion objectively. So this is called scientific detachment. You are carrying out experiments, but your emotions are not involved. You are doing it objectively, truthfully, without any bias. 6th one, dark bellied clouds. Belly is the lower part of the stomach. Actually, cloud's stomach, the lower part of the cloud was very dark. The cloud was hanging very low. So it was called dark bellied clouds. They were floating in the sky with the wind all day. Cascade gray, the color of the cloud. Number 8, eternal brilliance. Eternal means permanent, continuing all the time. Brilliance means splendid, something very bright. Actually, that royal treasure, the treasures with which he was buried, they were brilliant, and they are still very much there. Ritual regins. Ritual, actually, when his body was buried, actually it was called funeral, and some rituals were performed. So ritual regins were attached to his body, that his body should be fixed in the coffin. So ritual regins were applied there. Virtual body means not real body, but very much like a body. It is called virtual. So students, I have explained some of the technical terms which are special to this lesson, which are related to the kind of topic which is being discussed in this lesson. I think things are quite clear to you. So please, with this I conclude this lesson. Please subscribe to my channel, write in the comment section. Keep smiling. Have a nice day.